the commitment we need to make going forward to protect our free speech rights. It was 100 years ago this week that the city of San Diego actually passed an ordinance number 4623, banning any type of free speech or assembly in a 49-block radius of downtown San Diego. This was after members of the International Workers of the World, Local 13, gathered in the streets of downtown to talk about working conditions and pay. And they were shut down by our predecessors on the city council. The ordinance read, "It shall be unlawful for any person to address any assemblage, meeting, or gathering of persons, to hold or conduct any public meeting, or make or deliver any public speech, lecture, or discourse, or sing any song or songs, or take part in any public debate or discussion in or upon any public street or alley within that certain district in the city of San Diego." Well, the Stingaree district was in the heart of the working class here in San Diego. These were people who needed to be educated about their rights as workers and citizens. And their ability to learn about their rights was effectively shut down by the city council. Later, that ordinance would be overturned. And people such as George Marston, an important business leader and father of Helen Marston, who would later go on to found the local chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union, refused to sign a petition to have speakers driven off the streets and instead publicly advocated for the free speech of all. This is San Diego's history, just 100 years ago. And yet there are events today occurring today on the streets of San Diego and cities all across America where our rights to free speech are being challenged. And today we have an opportunity to reaffirm all of our commitment to the right of free expression. Before we read the final proclamation, I want to give my colleague Todd, Gloria an opportunity to make a couple of comments.
Thank you, Councilmember Emerald. I'm thrilled to be joining you today, along with representatives from our local ACLU and San Diego Imperial County's Labor Council to commemorate the 100th anniversary of this historic fight in our cities, within our city. Now more than ever, it's vital for us to demonstrate our commitment to democracy and the fundamental aspects of our nation, such as the freedom of speech, and to keep this at the forefront of our minds as we remember milestones like we're doing here today. I'm deeply privileged to be able to read the official proclamation of this City Council with many whereases, but the most important of which being, therefore be it proclaimed by the Council of the City of San Diego that this Council, for and on behalf of the people of San Diego, on this 100th anniversary of the historic San Diego free speech fight, does express its deep dismay for our predecessors' actions and formally reiterates the Council's repudiation of this shameful ordinance. And I'd like to present this to Lorena Gonzalez, who will now be accepting the resolution. Oh, I'm sorry. Kevin Keenan with the ACLU. Apologize.
I get enough time to talk to you guys. I'll cede it to Kevin, but I do want to invite every one of you and your staff, anyone who wants to, tomorrow, which is exactly 100 years from the enforcement date of this ordinance. We will be kind of redoing what happened 100 years ago with traditional soapboxes at 5th and E. I've yet to tell the police, so I guess this is my official notification that we will be having soapboxes out there starting at 6 p.m. and it is an open mic kind of situation. Anyone can come speak about anything that they feel is important for folks to know. So thank you very much for this.
Hi, I'm Kevin Keenan with the ACLU San Diego and Imperial Counties. I'd be remiss not to remark that this is a wonderful morning for the advancement of constitutional freedom in another way, which is the Ninth Circuit handed down a victory in the challenge to Prop 8. And it's in this way that progress in democracy slowly advances and builds. And it's people don't realize how paper thin the right to the freedom of speech was for much of this country's history. It basically was not worth the paper it was printed on. So you had in 1912 Margaret Sanger being arrested for speaking out publicly on a sidewalk promoting birth control. You had Upton Sinclair arrested at a union protest for reading aloud the First Amendment. And in San Diego here, you had brutal repression of the Wobblies for speaking out about economic inequality. Ironically, it was that kind of repression that then inspired a turnaround and an elevation of the idea of freedom of speech into the public's consciousness and into our wonderful American pantheon of special treasured values. Indeed, I would say that San Diego, for its many contributions to this great nation, advancements in medicine, aviation, technology, and science, among the greatest of those is what we did to elevate the principle of freedom of speech for all people in this country. It is now the case that we understand that free speech isn't easy. It's not just for the issues that are least controversial. It is for the protection of the dissident, the protester, and the controversial, for membership in controversial groups, none of which existed until San Diego and other places around the country started to fuel newfound respect and elevation of the freedom of speech. So I commend members of City Council for recognizing that, and I would leave you with this thought. When it's hard, that's when it's most important. And the harder it is to stand up for free speech in any given moment, when you feel this is just awful and I don't like what I'm hearing and it shouldn't be, it is even more important in those moments to protect the freedom of speech for all people so that we can have victories like helping to overturn Prop 8 and all the other advancements in our democratic freedoms. Thank you all.